Hello folks, now Quick Fly Shop here, rainy day, time to tie a fly. We're tying today a tube fly using the Pro Tube Nano S4 Sync 4. We're using the Vision 2-in-1 vise that I really like. It's fully rotational, kind of cool, comes with a tube fly attachment aside from this one. And we're going to tie. I'm looking forward to this. So the materials we're going to use are polymer chenille, little jungle cock, house dyed schlappen, house dyed Rhea, flat braid Ligerton, and a stone faux cone. The thread I'm going to be using is going to be black nano thread, which I really like. Now, what I like about these Pro Tube needles is that you can slide your tube on, and because it's flattened, it doesn't rotate. So my tube's not going to rotate when I start tying. I'm going to, there we are, little nano thread just to get the thing going. I'm not too worried about anything other than just getting some material on. And I'm going to then cut the excess thread off. Now I'm putting on some polymer chenille. This is medium polymer chenille. You can use small polymer chenille if you want. And all I'm doing with this is I'm going to create a cup of material so my slapping will have a base to lay on and flare away towards the back, like so. 3 wraps, 4 wraps, no more. It starts to bind up and you be getting the fly bulky, and bulky is not what we want to do. We want to have a big fly, a sparse fly, and a fly that's going to have a lot of motion. There we are. The nano thread is lovely because it doesn't take up any capacity. Now I'm going to put on a little slapping. I tie it in from the stem. Some people will tie it in from the tip. I prefer the stem. When I lock it in, just lock about 1/4 inch in. Here, the stem is soft enough that it will actually polymer. If you notice, I move my thread ahead about 1/4 inch. This way it prevents the stem from turning as I polymer. There we go. Oh, that's hard. That's difficult. There we are. I want to make sure my material lays back. You can manipulate that with your finger if you want, like I've just done. Now when I lock it in, I will be able to really lay it back, force it back with my thread, like so. Now there you have a lovely base, a lovely base for the back collar. Next I'm going to put on my opal mylar, which I may not have mentioned, but that's what I'm going to use as an accent, spiraled over my Ligerton flat braid. Ligerton's just been reintroduced here in Canada, and probably most other places, recently. It was discontinued for some time, and apparently now it's available again, so I love it. Nice steely blue. I'll lock that in. Now note how little space this nano thread occupies. And it's really tough. I could lift this whole vise with this nano thread. And I'm going to move my thread forward about 1 inch. Then I'm going to wrap. I'm going to create a base of Ligerton. Now, this is a rotary vise. I could have rotated without using my hands, but this, then I really feel what's going on. Cut the excess off. Lock it down really well. Now comes my opal tinsel. I really like this because it really catches light. Eighth of an inch between, quarter of an inch, whatever you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be too fancy. You'll notice that when the fly is done, you can see around the fibers. There. And because this is a slightly weighted tube, it's going to fish really well. Now I am again going to put a slight collar of polymer chenille. You notice how quick you can be. You don't have to be too that fussy. Fish aren't that fussy. 2-3 wraps, plenty. Want it to be sparse. Very nice. Now comes my flags. My flags. Beautiful. I want my flags to extend back. They have an awful lot of motion when they're in the water. Every little current and seam moves these. There. And I got 4 of them, so I'm going to quarter them. And they don't take up space, and they're not heavy, and they're not bulky, and they don't cause the fly to, there we are, they don't cause the fly to become compounded with material, weight, and mass. So they will free float pretty well. There. Okay. So you can see how these sort of float around. You know they're not heavy, but they take up a little bit of underwater. They take up a shadow, and that's really important. Now I'm going to go to slapping again. A little darker, blue tips. So don't let, two wraps with the slapping. Lock it in nicely. Nice. Very, very nice. And from Kellen will get that. So there, I've done 3 wraps. I've kept it really, really sparse. Beautiful.
Hey, how's it going?
Beautiful. Oh yeah, very nice. Now you can see how that really looks. And underwater is going to be amazing. Next will come my Rhea. And I'm not going to palmer it. I'm not going to put it in a dubbing loop. I'm just going to lay pieces in. 3 or 4 pieces every. There. I want to try to make sure I get it all the way around. I don't know how I got this color, so I'm sort of having fun with it. There we are. And one more little packet. There. Okay, very nice. Move it back a bit. Back a bit. Stick on a couple of jungle cock eyes. One, Beautiful. As good friend, fellow steelheader Dick Hogan always says, beautiful flies for beautiful fish. There. Wow, that's cool. So, this being a tube and a PVC tube, I'm going to be able to melt the end once I get my cone on. I don't need to add any sparkle because the body provides enough sparkle, as does the polymer chenille. Personally, I like to use super glue for my head cement, especially when using something that's going to be lit on fire or melted. There we are. Now comes the cone. Slips on over. It's supposed to, there we are. Slips on over. I'll pull the tube off. Okay. Alright. Going up, I'm going to leave, 2 millimeters and melt the end. And you can see it flare. That holds my cone on. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have a wonderful version of let's see if we can get that on. Well, I can't do that, but anyway, a wonderful version of an intruder pattern tied sparse. That's giving you an awful lot of motion in the water, and it will catch fish.